everybody. Tom Nappy here, and we are joined by Hopkinton Water and Sewer Manager Eric Carty. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We've been getting some snowy weather, and we're going to talk about the weather trends. But first, I'd imagine you guys have been pretty busy over at the DPW dealing with this weather. How's it going over there?
Yeah, so we have had a lot going on, a lot weather related and just a lot in general. So with all this rain we've had, we've been inundated with floods at our wells and our sewer stations. So that's kept us real busy trying to prevent our pump stations and our well stations from going underwater. So we spent a lot of time doing that, trying to make some adjustments and cleanups. We've had so many tree limbs down and power outages, just a lot of cleanup from the weather. But on the other side of that, we got some good news. We finally had our PFAS filtration vessels installed last week. So that's a big step forward in that project. So that's scheduled to come online in the late spring, and that will remove the PFAS at well 6. So that was good news to get those in.
Excellent. And did I read the other day that there was some kind of pipeline break, or am I imagining that?
So we've had a couple of water main breaks. I think we're coming up on 3 weeks ago. We had a break up on the corner of Maple Street, water main break that we had to repair. So we this time of year, with that really cold weather we had, and especially going from warm to cold back to warm is when we get a little concerned there. So thankfully, over this past weekend, when we went almost 5 straight days with below freezing temperatures, that's the first time that's happened in 4 or 5 years. They used to be the norm for winters, but now it's abnormal. So, generally when that happens, we usually get some freeze ups in the basement. Some of the old fieldstone foundations here in town get caused, but this time we did not, so we were lucky.
Well, hopefully we won't get too many more of those freezing days. It was very cold for a couple of weeks. And speaking of the weather, you track the weather and you send us the weather trends pretty much on a weekly basis. And we just posted the latest weather trends yesterday on our website, hcam.tv. Tell us about what to expect in these next few months. I see that coming up this week, it's going to get into the 50s a little bit. But are we going to stay in that warmer trend, or are we getting some of that cold weather back? And what can we expect for snow?
Yeah, so it's been just real crazy the past couple of years. So if you go back to almost a year ago, February, January was very mild. Actually, I remember golfing last January down in Rhode Island. But then in February, we had one of the coldest days on record. We had a minus 12 degree, and I remember that day well because we were out working, unfortunately. So just the extremes. We had a minus 12. Then the spring and summer, we just got inundated with rainstorm after rainstorm. I think it rained 11 out of the 13 weekends during the summer. The fall, again in late September, October, we had another constant set of rainstorms come in. And then that's kind of what's set up here recently. We had, unprecedented in the month of December. We had 2 4-inch rainstorms in the month of December and within a week. So we had 8 inches of rain within a week, which for December is, thankfully we didn't have snow. That would have been 8 feet of snow to do it. But just the way the jet stream is setting up, it's just elongated all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So it's just picking up all that moisture and dropping it right on top of us. So along with those 2 4-inch rainstorms, we then turned around and had 13 inches of snow, and then abruptly went right back to warm again and had another 3-inch rainstorm that almost flooded us out a third time. So it's just crazy. We just seem to go from one extreme to the other. So yeah, as you noted, we just got back through that 5-day it never went above freezing for 5 straight days. Looks like we've got a warming trend all the way now through mid February. Just looking at the latest models, it looks like we're going to be above normal. There'll be days here or there that go down and be cold, and this Monday is going to be not go above freezing, but overall above through the month of February. And then it looks like maybe the end of the February we could go back into another cold snap after that. So it's just crazy weather. You look out west, they're flooding again. The Pacific Northwest, it's just has basically a jet stream is just blowing straight line rainstorms right over them, and then we end up on the backside of that a couple weeks later. So just crazy weather pattern.
Well, I guess you never know what to expect in New England, right?
Exactly. But it was
So,
nice. I actually got to go skating this weekend too. It's the first time we've had safe ice for the first time in 2 years too. So,
all right, did they set up the rink this
well, I
weekend?
did it right in front of my house. So I went skating out in Maspinock in front of the house, put the net out there, and we were out there skating. Got a couple days in before this rain here will and snow. Looks like we got another 6 or 7 inches coming this Sunday possible. So that'll take care of the ice.
Now, how do you determine if the lake is stable enough, frozen enough for skating?
So that's a good question. And this year is a little more concerning because of how much rain we had. We've actually had to try to the lake is actually filled back up after we had it drained down to its normal level for the winter, and we drain it every year for uh, two reasons. One, to help try to control the weeds, and the other is to make sure that the ice doesn't build up and push against the dam structures and docks and other things that ruin them. And we had it down to the level, and then all of a sudden we had, like I said, those 4-inch rainstorms came in, and the lake, when we have those rainstorms, if we have a 4-inch rainstorm, the lake will fill up as much as 7 or 8 inches just because of the way the watershed is designed. All that water just flows right down in there. So we've struggled. So we've had the dam pretty wide open. So even though we had this ice, there's still a lot of moving water under there. So I'll actually go out and check it with a bar just to make sure. And we had it, roughly around 2 to 3 inches. And right in front of my house, when it's down to where it is now, it's not that deep to begin with. So it's only like 3 or 4 feet to begin with. But I always try to check it because you never know. And you always want to be safe. And the bar is the best way to check it. And you have to check in several spots because there's certain areas where the channel actually flows underneath, and those will freeze less than the other areas.
Yeah, we certainly want people to be careful if they're going to go out there ice skating. And so you mentioned you installed the new water tank. How long did that project take?
So that's still undergoing. That was just a big part of it, waiting for these vessels to come in. So they've been doing work since late fall. There's a lot of underground work, piping changes that have to go on. This is the first above ground work, they poured the foundation, they put these vessels in. Now that that's in, when the weather breaks, they'll have to come back, and there's actually I don't want to call it a tent because it's a little bit sturdy. It's almost like the Patriot practice bubble material that will go over that to house it. And then there's some other tie-ins and things. There's computer work that has to be done. So it's going to take until the late spring before everything's finally completed, and we were able to have that up and running online.
And that's a great segue. You brought up the Patriots, so I have to ask, what are your thoughts on the whole Bill Belichick situation and
So
Patriots bringing in Mayo?
yeah, so I was surprised, not surprised. I knew Bill would his time here. They were probably going to honor his wishes because of what he's actually done for the franchise. But it seems like everything was starting to get a little stale there. So it was almost like it was time for a change, maybe to get somebody new in there to do it. And it was interesting to find that they had written into Mayo's contract that he would be the next coach. I wouldn't have seen that coming until we heard that. So that's good for him. He's been around a long time, experience. So we'll look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit worried about them not bringing in a GM, though. I think they should bring in a good GM, but I don't know who's going to run the football operations. It's kind of interesting over there right now.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they get a good committee and take the best person available. They have a lot of needs, so that could be at any position.
Absolutely. And lastly, any prediction on when we'll start to see the spring weather come in?
So it's almost like the seasons have moved. It's historically the past 3 to 4 Marches have been really cold, and we've had actually quite a bit of snow the past 2 to 3 years. So it's almost like March, instead of being the warm month coming up, has turned into like the last month of winter here. So I haven't seen that far out the projections yet. So we'll have to probably wait a couple weeks to see that.
All right. Well, Eric, thanks so much for talking with us. We'll certainly catch up again in a couple months or something like that and talk about hopefully some good spring weather coming in. But thank you so much, and best of luck to everybody over there at the DPW.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Always a pleasure.